Previously, on Dirwin's journey, a lone hunter emerged from the shadows. Dirwin, the Shadow Hunter. Armed with daggers and guided by precision, he chose a path of stealth over brute force. From his very first battles, he struck unseen, learning to hunt before being hunted. One by one, his enemies fell, silent, unaware, until only one remained, the boss. Even when forced into open combat, Dirwin adapted, using oil to weaken his foe, and ending the fight with cold efficiency. The captive was freed, the contract was complete, and with his reward claimed, a new hunt was already waiting. Back in Osbrook, Dirwin secures his next contract without hesitation. Time is never on his side, and he knows the next hunt won't be as forgiving as the last. Before stepping beyond the safety of the city, he makes his way through familiar streets, heading toward the herbalist to restock what keeps him alive between encounters. The sling he found in the last dungeon served its purpose, but it was never truly reliable. Dirwin knows his aim isn't perfect, and in a hunt where every mistake comes at a cost, there's no room for wasted strikes. If he's going to land a hit, it has to matter. A better weapon won't make him infallible, but it will make every opportunity count. And for someone who lives in the shadows, sometimes one strike is all it takes. The road from Osbrook to the Drunken Woodsman Inn was unusually quiet. Too quiet. The absence of danger didn't put Dirwin at ease. It made him uneasy. By the time he reaches the inn, that feeling hasn't faded. Asking around, gathering fragments of information, he pieces together a rumor. Bandits ambushing trade caravans somewhere beyond the inn. It's not certainty, but it's enough. Dirwin decides to rest for a few hours, conserving his strength. Whatever is waiting on that road, he intends to find out for himself. Among the trees where he feels most at ease, Dirwin watches in silence. It doesn't take long to realize the rumors were true. The bandits are already at work. He remains still, patient, calculating. A single thought crosses his mind. Is it time to ambush the ambushers? And so it began. Dirwin started the hunt from the shadows. Killing one was inevitable. The others were now alerted. Dirwin would have to rely on every ounce of his experience in the forest to face two enemies at once. As expected from our shadow hunter, he dealt with all three ambushers with deadly precision. But as he collected the loot from the caravan, he remembered. The carpenter never received the plane from Manshire. What Dirwin didn't know was that this item would be invaluable for trading information later. But that's a story for another time. For now, the next objective is clear. The dungeon. According to Odar, it's filled with enemies far more difficult to handle. A true test to see what our hunter is really made of. Dirwin rested, gathering his strength and sharpening his focus. When he set out for the dungeon, his mind was strong, ready for everything that awaited him. He knew this would be an intense hunt. Pelgrim's rest had begun. Dirwin couldn't slip into the shadows at the start. He had to rely on his sling. And though he landed only a single shot, it was a critical hit, dealing significant damage. Now, Dirwin could finally apply his full skill in stealth. He moved with precision, leaving the bloodsucker with almost no chance to react. Yet something caught him off guard. These enemies were wielding different weapons. This one carried a two-handed blunt, something new for our hunter, and a challenge he hadn't anticipated. It's true, we see Dirwin miss a lot with his sling. But that's not a flaw, it's a choice. He doesn't want a static build that wastes time aiming. His plan is to use the sling at mid-range to wear enemies down a bit, then switch to his daggers to finish the fight. He still has a lot to improve before he can execute it flawlessly. Patience. One day, we may witness one of the best hunters blending stealth and mobility. For now, the sling is just a tool, dealing some damage, sometimes causing daze or bleed, both extremely useful. The mission Odar entrusted to him was clear: destroy the unholy altars in the chapel. Of course, these altars were heavily guarded by demons, for to them they were sacred. And there was more. Until the altars were destroyed, the dungeon itself would impose negative effects on Dirwin, making it harder to recover between fights. Every step demanded caution. Every encounter needed to be as clean and precise as possible. There was no room for mistakes. Sometimes demons don't behave as one would expect. And that unpredictability makes fighting from the shadows even harder. Let's hope Dirwin can adapt. A demonic monk. Another warrior, different this time, wielding a staff. This could be a problem. With his rush, he can close the distance almost instantly, and Dirwin has few ways to counter it. It was a strange fight. Both Dirwin and the demon focused more on dodging and blocking than striking, a battle of endurance. But Dirwin's mind did not waver. It was strong, forged in the forests through countless survival trials, trained to stay steady no matter the situation. The chapel was so neglected that obstacles blocked Dirwin's path, preventing him from landing effective surprise attacks. So he decided to adjust the environment a bit. Anything to become lethal again. With preparation, Dirwin can overcome anything. He's been doing a good job in his own way, and it seems the other enemies haven't even noticed him. Dirwin continues forward, destroying more altars, always with stealth and caution. The last altar was destroyed, but it seemed this was far from over. The heart of the altars was a relic, the relic Dirwin needed to recover. And guess who was waiting in that room? None other than the boss. Can Dirwin handle this enemy? Let's see how he manages. Wow, an impressive way to survive. Did you see that hunter's mindset? He used oil to make the enemy less effective in close combat. Thanks to that, Dirwin could dodge and block more attacks, leaving the boss humiliated. He knew oil wasn't just for cooking or starting fires. His ranger experience was applied in every moment. In this dungeon, our mercenary had learned to detect nearby enemies without even seeing them. If he truly focuses, he can sense their presence, anticipate their every step. Now came the moment to claim his reward. Occasionally, Dirwin crossed paths with Cerwyn Deem, bailiff of the Grand Magistrate. He would give Dirwin less gold as a reward, but would raise his reputation across all the major cities in the world. And that would be a future advantage, for Dirwin knew he wouldn't stay in Osbrook much longer. In Osbrook, Dirwin showed the plane to the carpenter. It was exactly what he had been waiting for, and he had been worried it hadn't arrived. Grateful, he gave a small reward. After that, without hesitation, Dirwin headed to the blacksmith. From the last dungeon, he had deduced something important. His dagger needed to be lethal. He didn't hesitate. He bought a better dagger, optimized for his current skill with bladed weapons. Next, he upgraded his glove, one with better defense, and that also improved his precision in combat. He then decided to test new ammunition for his sling, believing that someday it could be the key to victory. With nothing else left to do in Osbrook, Dirwin planned his next destination, a new contract. This time, it would be against the undead, far from the city. A long journey awaited, but Dirwin already knew how to survive out there. But Dirwin needed to know something before leaving. Odar sounded strange when mentioning the brewery near Osbrook, and if anyone could give him information, it was the carpenter who knew Odar best. Luckily, thanks to the favor they had done earlier, the carpenter revealed some curious details, things Dirwin would investigate in the future. But that would have to wait. For now, his journey was already planned, and he set off immediately. At first, the journey seemed calm, peaceful, a time for exploration. Dirwin discovered important hunting grounds, but he wasn't ready for them yet. He decided to mark them on his map, planning to return in the future, better equipped to hunt as efficiently as possible. Dirwin made a stop, taking advantage of the comfort of RoT Tower, which had a small camp. After waking, he prepared something to eat and continued his journey. But this time, it wouldn't be peaceful at all. The road would present one of the toughest challenges yet, and if he wanted to survive, he would have to use all his combat experience. Dirwin had encountered a wild wolf on his path. The warning in its roar made him hesitate. Could he take it down? Our hunter tried to circle it, looking for a better flank, but the wolf responded immediately, turning this encounter into a battle between hunter and beast. But what would truly take Dirwin by surprise was the second wolf. Of course, They were a pair of wild wolves. What are the chances Dirwin makes it out of this? It looked complicated. Wow! Dirwin left me speechless. He truly knows how to fight these beasts, using all the tools of a seasoned hunter to neutralize them as much as possible while tearing into them with his dagger. Honestly, I didn't expect him to come out of this fight so unscathed. Give our hunter a like. His first hunt was tough, and he handled it brilliantly. And now, our mercenary shadow hunter arrived at the dungeon. Let's see how effective he is now, with a more powerful dagger and the ability to detect enemies by their presence. It seems our mercenary is doing much better now. His dagger strikes hit harder, and when he lands a shot with the sling, it adds more damage thanks to the new ammunition. Skillfully handled by Dirwin. At first, I didn't quite understand why he was switching focus between enemies before finishing them, but then it became clear. His priority was to disable their limbs, rendering their attacks harmless, and then take them down one by one. A brilliant strategist. It seems the boss has fallen into Dirwin's trap, and now comes alone. I almost feel sorry for it. The boss was the first to fall, cleanly, without alerting the rest of the undead. Now, only the minions remain. A masterpiece. Dirwin's Hunt in the Shadows. And just like that, the dungeon was completed successfully by our mercenary. What an incredible execution! His plays are becoming more and more refined. I'm really starting to enjoy this playstyle. Stealth feels much better in this version of the game, and we'll keep pushing it as much as we can throughout this run. What did you think? Are you enjoying our mercenary's journey so far? It's true he only has one active skill, but the dagger and survival passives are incredibly effective, giving him unique advantages, and Dirwin is making the most out of them. Feel free to share what you enjoy the most about this kind of gameplay. And you already know, a like really helps the video reach more people and motivates me to keep going. And if you're new here and decide to subscribe, we'll be getting closer to those 500 subs. Let's keep it going. This community is awesome. And with that, we're wrapping up today's episode. With all the Osbrook contracts completed, Dirwin and I will take some time to rest before continuing the journey in the next chapter. Thank you for being part of this series, and I'll see you in the next episode.